behind the velvet rope. Let's just get right into it. She's in a mood today, girls. Not me. It's Miss Sarah Fraser. You're in a mood, girl. You're in a mood.
I am, David. I am in a mood. I have had one of the best years of my life, like career-wise, family-wise. But this past week, it was like nothing could go right. I'm telling you. I mean, I had the craziest meetings. Like, you know this. I'm pitching this reality show. I had a meeting with a major website, y'all have heard of it, but I won't say it, about potentially partnering, being a sponsor. I mean, it was so bad. They just like from this get-go were like, are you looking for money? We're not, we are not giving money. We do not, we'll take pitches, but we are not interested in money. Well, what the fuck do you think is like going on in the world? Then I had a podcast company reach out to me wanting to carry my podcast. You and I have talked about this extensively offline. And then, you know, all this wonderful initial meeting. And then my agent gets on the phone, you know, because what people don't realize, here's behind the velvet rope again, / Sarah Fraser reveal. If you're on a podcast network, very few of these podcast networks do anything for you. So FYI, if you're going to launch a podcast and then your dream is to be picked up by, I don't know, iHeartRadio podcast, or I won't even name any names. I don't know what they do for people or they don't. Okay. But you and I know this because we've been approached by many networks over the years. They do not do shit for you. They make all these promises. We're going to get you on other people's podcasts. They're going to be on yours. Well, of course, what you find out is they might not want to have you on. They have busy schedules. Maybe their audience isn't your audience. And they never will promise you money. And then when you get down to it and you say, look, I make X amount of money on my own. So what are you going to do for me if I come to your network and tell all my fans to go and subscribe to you? Well, we can't make you any promises. I'd have to own half the show. We'd have to own half the show. We have to have rights. I'm not going to put all this work in and not get something out of it. And it's like, okay, well, if you're going to own it, what kind of money are you going to give? I can't make any promises. David, I am spent. I am spent. I am over this business currently today. I'm over it. If anybody wants a rant, I'm ready.
Listen, I mean, I can't tell you, everyone always gets mad at me when I say lesser Bravo podcasts, but I can't tell you how many lesser Bravo podcasts than Behind the Velvet Rope. Sorry, I don't know what is so wrong with having confidence and you're good at what I can't tell you how many I see go on these networks and I'm like, man, I was just called for that yesterday. I agree with everything you say. I mean, it sounds sexy, like I heart, and then you're like, but I own Behind the Velvet Rope. Like, I own this. If I want, you know, you do not know my audience, okay? These lovely people listening, like, you're going to start telling me what I can put out. Now, mind you, I am available for purchase. Like, you can own my soul. You can own my soul.
Of course.
I will politely bow down to all these wonderful people listening, but you can own me. I don't know. I mean, not for $100,000. Like, there's a big price here.
But most of
like,
the time,
if you want to buy, no, there's not even that. There's zero.
Right,
and I'm like,
right.
oh, I don't understand. If I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing for the first month or 3 months. You could have had me on your network. Now that the ship has sailed, like, right. I don't understand. You're going to help me with an edit or something. Like, I do, like, I don't need you for anything. Same thing. Well, we have this one on our network. We have that. So, like, wait, like, I could have Madonna on my podcast because she's on your network. Well, we would have to ask her. Okay, well, I have a whole team that asks people all day and reaches out to celebrities. I'm already doing that. I'm already paying. Like, I agree with you. It's bullshit when you see a network. I told you who, we don't need to mention a name, a huge famous podcaster called me recently for advice and was like, I'm leaving my network. And I'm like, sweetie, like, you should. Like, and these people on the networks, they don't even know how to do the things we do because they have a network do some of the things. And it's like, just learn it all. It's the way to go. Independence, people, independence. And
build
I don't know.
On your own. Build it on your own. And I'm frustrated with myself because I'm halfway between just like stopping, you know, because, you know, I'm here in Hollywood to be a producer, partially to be a producer and pitch my stuff. But then I'm halfway of still playing this game of like pitching to networks and going through all these things. And then just saying to myself, just do it all on your own, build your own thing. You know, figure it out, shoot your own stuff, figure out a place that you can put it. where it can, because, you know, I'm like kind of X-rated. So like, I don't want to do fucking PG stuff. Like, so it's like, find
I
out where you
told
put
you
it.
this. They might say, and listen, I mean, it's almost like, unlike all these housewives who, like, we parted ways and this and that, like, that can't admit that they were fired. Ramona just did a new article where it's a little, she's kind of backtracking on her, like, I've decided to part ways from the network. Unlike that, I'm going to admit it. I've been fired from I've been fired pretty much, I think, from every job I ever had. I got an attitude, guys, if you haven't noticed. I like am very humble socially, but not with work. Like, I know what I'm doing. I'm sorry. I'm going to compare
Oh,
myself to Beth. I was a lawyer, that I ran a staffing agency that I sold. Like, I go into a new business venture and I don't know anything. And I'm like, get out of my way. I need to I compare myself to Bethany. I mean, Bethany is in Be Strong. Like, she doesn't know how to do that. She learned, she's like, I go in, I read, I pay attention, I figure it out. That's, I mean, entertainment business, in interviewing celebrities. I didn't go to school for that. I just, you learn it. And I'm really good at interviewing.
you you are.
I mean, I listen again, please don't think I have an ego. I suck at life. I literally suck at life. I can't drive a car. I don't know how to change a light bulb. Like, please don't think I have an ego, but I'm great at my job. And so, like, unlike these so I get fired from jobs because you and I talked about it before. They don't want you to bring your A game. When you actually are trying to add it, they're like,
Oh,
honey,
forget it.
they're
No,
like, you're
no,
fired.
no.
So, but
Yep.
unlike all these housewives, I will admit that I was fired from all these jobs. So where I'm going with this is, if I went on a network, we would come to blows within a minute. Now, again, if you pay me enough money that I don't care, you can give me a 5-year clause and then I'll stay on, and we could disband the Behind the Velvet Rope in 5 years. But I don't know why, but Ramona did. So this really does tie into Ramona. And then we'll talk more about you and, like, your bad week, because don't go soft to me. But Ramona is she's backtracking a little bit from her statement that she's decided to pursue her own thing. She's like, well, we were all fired. I mean, okay, so you were all fired. You all lost your jobs on RHONY. So she's kind of hedging a little bit. But she says, look, I'm 60 something. Girl, you're 66. Just admit it. Just,
I know, who cares? You're fabulous. I mean, and she now already has built-in fans. So just even if you're 76, people are going to turn out for Ramona 100%.
Well, she is like, listen, I can't believe I'm uttering these words. I cannot believe I am uttering these words, because I interview all these ex-housewives and this and that. I'm like, girl, you would go back tomorrow. Look, I think Ramona would go back, but she did a whole thing in this article. It was with the Daily Mail, where she says, like, you don't realize I really am enjoying not being on the show. And I really do believe her. Like, I really think Ramona is
Oh, you do.
not going to be one of these housewives. Look, do I think Ramona would go back to Legacy if they gave her a certain amount of money? Yes. You and I talked about this shocking news that I heard, that the people on RHONY Legacy were offered anywhere from like 15,000 to like 60,000. Now, everyone is offered a different amount. So if you think of like Luann de Lesseps, that's an OG. We kind of need her, versus like a Kelly Ben-Simone. I heard some things of who was offered what, which I shouldn't even get it. Listen, give me a week and we could get into it. It's going to be obvious where it came from but someone that you would think would have had a lot of money is offered like a little bit. But the point is, it's 15 to 60,000. Do I think Ramona would do Legacy for like 60 grand? I actually don't. I actually really don't. So I think she would go back to Housewives, where she made